Hi, Sigi.
Hi, Max.
Purim Sameach.
Happy Purim.
So tell us a little bit about Purim. What's Purim all about? When did it happen?
So I think it happened over 2,000 years ago.
That's right. Like about 2,300 or so years. I think it was the 4th century before the current era.
Okay, so
Or
that's
the
a
common
long
era.
So that's a long time ago.
Yeah, it's 2,300, 2,400 years ago. Quite a long time ago.
It is. All I know.
So why are we? First of all, why are we celebrating it? I mean, was it not a whole plot with the prime minister of the time of Persia, who was Haman?
Bad guy.
We know that's the descendants of Amalek,
That's right.
and we know that that King Asarius or Ahasuerus wanted to. Haman tried to convince him to kill us, and he was going to annihilate us. And now what are we celebrating? What's this whole idea?
Well, it's so powerful because definitely that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to destroy all the Jewish people in the 127 provinces that the king Ahasuerus ruled over. That means literally all the Jews in that time.
Yeah.
So we're celebrating because we're here. We won. Mm-hmm. If we wouldn't be here...
Well, how did we win?
Okay, so how we won is miraculous. Mm-hmm. So, yes, Haman convinced the king, Ahasuerus, to set a decree to kill all the Jews on a day that he chose, which is Purim. He picked up a lot, and he chose this date, thinking that it's a bad month for the Jewish people. There's no holidays, nothing special. And he found out that Moshe Rabbeinu died in this month. So
in
he
the
thought,
month of Adar.
Yeah, so he thought this is excellent. And God turned it.
He did know that Moshe Rabbeinu was born.
He didn't. He didn't. That's the thing. He didn't. And what we know, which we read, is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God flipped it all over. Hafochu. He flipped it all over. And in the end, we know Mordechai was not hung. Haman was hung. Him and his 10 sons.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, the whole issue.
Yes.
Although we're vegetarian, but the whole beef between Haman and Mordechai, that's the whole issue. It was between the two of them. It wasn't with all the Jewish people.
No. He lashed out on the Jewish people because Mordechai would not bow to him.
That's right. Yeah, but there's a whole backstory to that one.
You want to go in there?
Well, I mean, we could just touch upon it for some of them that for some of you who know about it. But they were ministers of the king, and they also were generals of the king when they went to war
in the army.
Both Mordechai and Haman.
That's
right. At one point after the war, when they were coming back, Haman and Mordechai apparently.
They had no more rations.
They were traveling back. Mordechai rationed, but Haman wasn't. And when he finished his last canteen of water and food, at one point he started begging Mordechai to share some of what he had.
Right.
And he said, not a problem, as long as you are my slave in the future. And this is the reason why Mordechai, while everyone else bowed, whenever Haman came into a room or was galloping around the city, Mordechai just stood there like this. He had no problem because he knew the agreement between the two of them. And no matter how wicked Haman was, there was still a sense of honor, as as far as what your word is, even between an enemy. There was a sense of honor and keeping your word.
I see what you mean. But it hurt his ego badly. And he figured he would lash out. So he hated Mordechai so much for the fact that he was smart enough to ration and that he was belittled by asking from him. And so he lashed out on all the Jewish people. But there was a miracle.
Esther also figured it out, right? What's the whole story there with Esther figuring it out? She wanted to She's the one who instituted the 3-day fast.
Okay, but if we go a little bit before that, she didn't want to marry the king.
No.
She wasn't interested in that. He wasn't Jewish. She didn't want to marry him. She didn't want to be intimate with the king.
So then how did that all happen?
Well, because Mordechai said to her, because we have to understand, this is a whole other element, that the leaders in all of the stories of our holidays had prophecy. God gave them information on how to save the Jewish people, how to lead the Jewish people in the right way. Because what's it all about? It's about us upholding Torah and mitzvot. It's about us keeping the covenant that we made with HaKadosh Baruch Hu on Mount Sinai. And whenever we steer off, our enemies are on top of us. Our enemies are against us. They want to kill us. They want to annihilate us. But Hashem has so much mercy for us and so much love that he gives us a chance. So Esther realized, because Mordechai said to her, it's either you're going to do this or the Jewish people's salvation will come from somewhere else. But what was her ancestry? Esther comes from who?
She's from the ancestry, from the tribe of Binyamin.
Okay.
Well, both of them are they not? No. Mordechai is from the ancestry of Binyamin, and
Esther is from the house of Shaul.
The house of Shaul.
Yes.
That's right, yes.
And why? Because when Shaul had his major war against Amalek, and the prophet, what was the prophet's name? Told him. Samuel told him, God says there's no mercy with Amalek because of what they did to us.
To destroy everyone.
All of them. Even the kids and the women.
All the cattle.
All the cattle.
Everything.
Do not take anything from them. We do not want their
King
energy.
Saul do?
He had mercy on the king and his wife. And when the prophet Shmuel said to him, you did wrong, the next day he killed the king.
It was too late.
It was too late. Because that night
he already had relations with his wife
and impregnated her. And the descendants of Amalek continued, and Haman is that descendant. So Esther came to rectify the sin of her fathers. Wait, I want to say something really good about this, okay? So now, something I learned from my wonderful teachers. So now, Rabbi Kassim says that every holiday is to commemorate a very important spiritual element in the Jewish people. So this comes to correct farther back, as far back as Har Sinai. On Mount Sinai, the Jewish people said, Naaseh v'nishma, for the oral Torah, for the 613 mitzvot. But they were afraid of the oral Torah. So they accepted the written Torah, but they were afraid of the oral Torah. So that's when the Midrash says that God put the mountain over them and said, if you accept, you live. And if you don't, this shall be your burial place. So we see that we accepted all of the Torah with a bit of fear. Purim comes with joy and love and tremendous amount of simcha to accept again the Torah, both the written and the oral, with love and simcha.
Very nice.
So really, that's the whole point. Now, one last thing I want to say, and then did you want to ask me a question?
Yeah, I wanted to add something.
Okay, you say it first, and then I'll finish off.
No, I'll finish.
You want to finish it off? Okay, good. So, just like Elul is the preparation to Tishrei, which is Rosh Hashanah, so too is Adar the preparation for Nisan, which is our final salvation, our redemption to becoming a free people, free to serve God. But this time around, it's out of love, not out of fear, as it is in Elul before the Rosh Hashanah.
Exactly. Very nice.
Thank
you. So now I'm just going to go very basic. Amalek, the idea behind Amalek is especially what they did to us in the desert when
Right.
we left Egypt and we went through the splitting of the Dead Sea, or the Red Sea, not
yes.
the Dead Sea. Once we were across, Amalek started to attack us.
Right. And we were a broken people and we were tired and scared.
Right. And what did Amalek do? He preyed on the weakness of people.
Right.
This ideology of Amalek is also, it's because they were jealous.
Yes.
They were an angry people.
Yes.
And that's why, as time goes on, unfortunately, there's a lot of mixed marriages all over North America, all over the world. And that's why today we don't know who Amalek is. I mean, we know that Hitler for sure was Amalek, but we don't know who was Amalek.
Who is now, right?
That's right.
We don't.
And they could be mixed everywhere. So the Rabbanim say that there's a little bit of Amalek in each and every one of us.
Right.
How do you identify
which
this
part of us is Amalek? I know.
part of
The
Amalekitism?
doubt.
Yeah.
The doubt.
Doubt, jealousy, or enviousness, anger, when someone gets angry. This is the Amalek inside us. And we have to, so when we go up to the Torah, or we listen to the Torah of Zachor, right?
Yes, last Shabbat.
That's right.
This past
It
Shabbat.
says that we have to obliterate
Amalek.
Amalek. But we don't know who Amalek is.
So maybe the job
It's
is
within us.
internal. Yes.
Everyone has it. We all get angry. We all have sometimes some envious or jealous feeling. Yeah, it's very nice to say, oh, yeah, we love what the other neighbor has and all that. We don't want it. We all have a little bit of, it's a desire. This desire, this
Negative.
feeling, it's okay to be jealous of someone
Who knows
who
more
knows
Torah. Yes.
That's perfect.
yes,
No
because
problem.
that's what we have to strive for.
But when it comes to material things, when it
Right.
comes to possessions, when it comes to any of these things, we have to really obliterate that out of us.
From
We have
us,
to take
yes.
it out, eradicate it out of us.
Right.
And this is how we fight back Amalek. This is how we're able to squash Amalek out of today, is by working on ourselves.
Excellent. So, and I'll just say where it came from.
Yep.
It started in Gan Eden, in Bereshit,
Oh, yes,
the Garden of
that's
Eden,
right.
when Adam HaRishon ate from the tree
Of
of knowledge of
knowledge.
good and evil, which was forbidden. That doubt in God running the whole world, in everything, that the truths, the real emet, came into us. And how do we see, where does Haman figure in the Torah? When God says to Adam, Hamin ha'etz hazeh, did you eat from that tree that I told you not to eat from? That's where the doubt started. And so we need to eradicate that. Know that God is running the show, that everything is perfect.
Right.
I don't have to covet anything else that anyone has. God is taking care of each and every one of us perfectly.
Hazak Baruch.
Chazak u'baruch for you too.
And Purim Sameach.
Purim Sameach.